According to the UK's Mental Health Foundation, 74% of people in 2018 felt so stressed that they could not cope with their daily lives.
Now, in the 21st century, the rat race is what it's all about.
Stoicism, hustle culture, and productivity have become the buzz terms. Now, these are all habits and these are all principles that I hold very close to my heart myself, and they have drastically changed my life and drastically changed the game in terms of my productivity and my overall work ethic. The problem is that they've also been causing the most stress in my life. Due to the hyper-competitive nature of the modern world, we are always driven to work harder, we are always driven to achieve more, we are always driven to aspire to more than what we currently have. And although that is a good thing in the long run, ladies and gentlemen, it has been causing the most stress in your life. Today we're going to be exploring the 4 biggest stressors in the 21st century, and I'm also going to be providing you with 4 constructive solutions to those stresses that you can begin implementing in your day-to-day practices. You'd be doing me the favor of the year by smashing that subscribe button and also turning on the post notifications bell to make sure that you do not miss valuable and insightful uploads like this one. As per usual, let's go. As I explained in the introduction, the hyper-competitive nature of the modern world is one of the biggest stresses, and this is the stressor that we're going to start off with. When we scroll onto social media and when we scroll through Instagram, we see all of these people with seemingly perfect lives, with successful lives that are so much better than our dull lives that we go through day to day. This is a false perception. You are competing against the best of the best. You're forcing yourself to compete against the best of the best, because the images we see on social media and the images that are portrayed on social media and the dynamics that are portrayed on social media are not necessarily very accurate. They're not necessarily a true reflection of those people's lives. And I will say it once again, social media showcases the highlights of people's highlights. It showcases the best moments of the best moments of their lives, but very seldomly do they show you the terrible moments. Very seldomly do they show you the realities of what they go through. And because we see all of these false images, because we see all of these false lives being portrayed, we immediately engage in competition, because we immediately want to be on their level. We want to be better than them. We want to be smarter. We want to be working harder. We want to look better than them. That drives us to competition. But at the end of the day, what are you really in competition with? You're in competition with a false image, a false perception of what their lives is truly like, instead of being in competition with yourself, improving yourself on a day-to-day basis. And that is also the solution to this particular stressor. Rather than seeing other people as competition, especially people on social media, which portray these false lifestyles most of the time, be in competition with only yourself. Make day-to-day improvements. Make small changes to your daily habits that will take you forward in the long run. Remember that I always say self-improvement is a marathon, not a sprint. Enjoy the journey. The second stressor that we're going to speak on links very closely with our first stressor, and this is comparison. We're going to use social media as an example because this is the perfect example to use.
Oh shit, here we go again.
You are busy scrolling through Instagram and you see this fitness influencer. Whether it's a man or a woman, you see this fitness influencer and you think to yourself, well, what the hell is wrong with me? I don't look like this. Their body is perfect and, you know, I have a few rolls here and there. I have loose hanging skin. Why can't I look like this? You immediately begin comparing yourself, and not in a healthy way, because you are pointing out all of the negatives. You're pointing out all of the things that you lack that they have, instead of focusing on the things that you have and they might lack. This is the thing. You're comparing yourself to that false image and that false perception, because let's be honest, a lot of people do edit their photos very good in order to make themselves look better than they actually look. Ladies and gentlemen, stop comparing yourself to this false image. Stop comparing yourself, as I said, to the best of the best. Rather focus on making yourself feel as good as possible. If you have a problem with how you look, there's always a solution to it. Yes, sometimes it's difficult, sometimes disease is the cause, sometimes there's a chronic condition that's causing it, but there's always something that you can do better. There's always healthy eating habits, there's always going to the gym, there's always engaging in light exercise that make you feel better. But instead of doing that, most people point out the negatives. They immediately begin comparing themselves. And this is not only in terms of fitness. For example, I scroll onto Instagram and I see someone who is more successful than me, someone who's better looking than me, and I immediately begin comparing myself to them. I immediately begin thinking that I'm not working hard enough because I should also be on that level, instead of focusing on how far I've come in the recent years. So be sure to not be too hard on yourself, and this is the solution to this stressor. Don't be too hard on yourself. No one can be perfect, but you certainly can make small changes in order to be the best version of you on a day-to-day basis. Let us touch on the so-called rat race. Now, this is the generic term most people give to the fast-paced lifestyle that we're currently living in. Everything feels like a rush. It feels like we're working, compelled to work harder, forced to work harder, and yet we do not take enough time for ourselves. We do not take enough time for self-reflection and just to sit back, relax, and take a deep breath in. This fast-paced lifestyle is having negative effects on your mental health, and in fact, it is the third biggest stressor in today's video. Because of this fast-paced lifestyle, you're always pressured to do more in less time. You're always pressured to do better than that person, to do this year after year, week after week. You are pressured towards a lifestyle of constant self-improvement, and at the end of the day, your resources are finite. Your energy is finite, and your willpower and your drive is finite. You cannot keep going without a rest. Just like a machine that works 24 hours a day, it also needs a rest every now and then. It also needs maintenance every now and then. Your body is by no means a machine, but just like machines, it does need a break every now and then. Your brain needs a break every now and then because it is constantly forced to outperform. It is constantly forced to outwork because of this fast-paced lifestyle. And the solution to this particular stressor is simply taking time to yourself. It doesn't have to be a month. It doesn't have to be 6 months or whatever. Take a few days to yourself. Take a few days to really reflect on what you've been doing. Have your efforts in any way been effective enough to achieve your goals, or is it time to reevaluate? You can only decide this if you take a step back and actually take time to really process what you've been doing. As I said, there's no excuse to be lazy, there's no excuse to procrastinate, but if you give yourself those few days, if you give yourself those few moments to really focus on what you've been doing, it's going to be much better for your productivity going forward. I want to conclude this video by saying that you are expecting too much too early. It's good to have ambition, it's good to have willpower, and it's good to have that desire to achieve more and to be better every single day. That is something I hold close to my heart and that you should as well. But don't be too hard on yourself. Don't expect miracles to happen in the first few weeks of your self-improvement journey. As I said, this is a marathon that you chose to begin and that you must finish. It is not a sprint. I want you to enjoy the journey. Embrace the struggles that lay before you. Embrace the challenges that you're going to face moving forward, for they will make you stronger, for they will give you that mental fortitude in order to keep persevering towards your goals. Do not expect miracles to happen. It's going to be a long and tedious process. It's going to be difficult. It's not always going to be easy or smooth sailing. But at the end of the day, you'll thank yourself for persevering throughout this entire journey. I would appreciate it even more if you smash the subscribe button, turn on the post notifications before you leave, and I'll see you next time.